is Rona Joy Alderite. You can call me Rona or Joy, either way, it's okay. So I earned a degree in communications, major in speech communication from UP Mindanao. And I started writing right after college, but at that time, being a speech communication major, I have a lot of doubts about my writing skills. So I don't think it's as good as other writers. So that's why I really honed my skills before I dabbled into, full time gig, getting full time writing gigs. Okay, so I only consider this as a full time gig 5 to 6 years ago. And I also earned a degree in law, and this also helped me in our we have a lot of content writing tasks related to law. So this helped me finish the job seamlessly. And I'm currently the head content writer and editor for Stellar Freelancers. So I've been with the company since 2019, and I'm more than glad to be part of a very good team that promotes growth, professional and personal growth. So that's about me, and I think we're now ready to move to the main topic for this session. So first, let's start with what is a content writer. So it's very self-explanatory. So let's start with what is a content writer. So the role of a content writer is actually pretty straightforward. You have to produce fresh, plagiarism-free, relevant, and engaging content for websites. So let's start with fresh. What's fresh content, and why is it important for clients? So actually, clients they have to update the content of their website, or they have to continuously submit articles to yung mga guest posts or blog posts, or if they have their own blog site, they have to continuously produce fresh or updated content for Google to crawl on that site and for them to appear on the first page or first few pages of Google search. So dapat fresh, like for example, let's compare a website na may content na from 2019 pa. So it's not updated compared to a website na current yung mga content, like every day or every week merong fresh content. So which do you think ang mas i-favor ni Google sa pag-rank in Google searches? So common sense would suggest, and then Google algorithm would suggest those websites with fresh content, they were given more premium kasi parang they have more credibility compared dun sa website na hindi updated ang content. That's why your role as a content writer is to continuously produce fresh content. Hindi lang fresh, dapat plagiarism free. So I know you're aware of yung plagiarism. So if you copy from a source, you lift from a source without giving proper credit, so that's plagiarism. And I think if you copy it word for word, kasi kung if you're writing for a thesis or academic paper, you can lift it word for word or in toto, but you cite the source, it's okay. But when you're writing for blog posts or guest posts or web copies, it's a no-no to copy words in toto or in verbatim. So you have to rephrase it in your own words to make it plagiarism free. Okay, so later on we'll be learning about some tools that could help you check if your article is plagiarism free. Okay, so first we have fresh, next plagiarism free. The third criteria is relevant. Okay, so ano yung relevant content? It's something that should pique the interest of your target market. Diba kasi pag hindi siya relevant, who will read that? No, and if nobody reads your article, walang sense yung mga links, mga backlinks na nilagay mo doon. And you can't build credibility if your readers aren't reading your article. So it must be relevant. For example, yung topic is home decor or home renovation. What's a relevant topic on home renovation? Pwede kung Philippines yung setting, yung home bodies, that's very relevant because people are talking about it. or it could be minimalism or minimalistic style, because that's the current trend in architecture na parang a lot of people aim for that kind of design. So you have to consider the topic and its relevancy. Okay, the question here is, will the audience be interested in reading this piece? Okay, so hindi lang dahil gusto mo, pwede na yon. Next, we have engaging written content for websites. Bakit engaging? Engaging is parang, di ba, when you read something and you're not interested, di ba, you will not finish the entire article. And kung gusto mo build ng brand credibility, it won't happen because, the readers aren't reading it because hindi sila engaged. So how do you make your content engaging? You have to appeal to the mind. Sabi nila, yung pinaka-important keys daw is you have to challenge the mind. Dapat, challenge the mind, touch the heart, and tickle the funny bone. So may humor, merong touching na part, and then may challenging or pang intellectual level na part. So if you could achieve those three, that's a very engaging written content. So again, from here, you would see that the role of a content writer, it's clear, but you have to have a lot of skills, to be able to produce what's required. Next is every client. Okay, so diba, when you write content, the order comes from the client. So this, hindi na it's okay if you have one client only. But most of the time, ang writer, lalo pag freelance, they work with different brands, with different clients. And these brands have specific target market. So your role as a content writer, you have to know kung sino yung target market ng client mo. Because only then can you write a compelling and engaging, relevant, and fresh content. The content that this target market will read. Okay? So you have to know that, and then you have to know how to pique their interest. For example, yung target market mo is yung young professionals. So anong topic ang compelling sa young professionals na related sa business ng client mo? For example, your client is a real estate company, and then you're given a topic lang to write about, real estate, and then your target market is yung young professional. So anong magandang topic doon? Pwede yung condominium units na nasa city proper. 'Di ba? Kasi yung young professionals, they're very engaged sa career nila. Yung life nila is fast, it revolves around their work, and then yung social relationships nila. So 'di ba? Patok yung topic na condominium units within the city. Okay? So when you write about that, that's the topic that you will write, then it will engage your audience. And then after engaging them, you have to come up with a well-written, informative, and high-quality content. So when you're a writer, your quality of work speaks for your credibility. Okay? So, 'di ba? We can only have as many clients as we want if we continue to deliver high quality content. Okay, so it's not just finishing a task. It's not just writing according to the description or the order. So it should be a product of research, and then yung mga data, relevant data. So that speaks volume about the quality. Okay, and the next is, as a writer, you also have to know about the SEO rules. Okay, so very basic example ng SEO rules are the keywords that you will use for your article. Most of the time, clients give a set of keywords na i-incorporate mo. Pero just in case the clients gives you the discretion to choose which keywords, which primary and long tail keywords to use, dapat you should know where to look for that. So we have Ubersuggest. There's a lot of tools actually wherein you could find keywords. Mm-hmm. Okay, but for now, you have to understand that as a content writer, you also have to use keywords to make your article palatable to your target market. Okay? So next is example ng keywords pala. So this is an example of a keyword. Okay? So for those who are not aware how we incorporate keywords in an article. Okay, so for example, this is the order of your client. So 700 words siya. It's a guest post. So, 'di ba, we talk about guest post, yung it's submitted to a particular website, but it's not the client's website. So since it's a guest post, you cannot promote the services of the client directly. Subtle lang yung pag-promote mo. And how do you do that? By the anchor text and the link. Okay. So this is the keyword, California car accident injury statistics. And this link, this is the backlink, or this is the link to the client's website. Okay. So this is the instruction. So this is how it will look like in the main article. Okay. Ayan. So that's the title, 5 most common car accident injuries. And then, since you cannot promote the client directly, so parang pwede mo lang siyang i-quote according to yan, yung keywords. And then when you click that, it will lead you to the client's website. So that's what so that's an example of, use of keywords and backlinking in the article. Okay? So I think we're clear on this. If you have questions, kindly write it down. I'll answer it after. Okay? So, yan. So, next is we have what are the responsibilities. First is manage their content schedule. So, kasi when you're a writer, unless you're micromanaged, so most of the time, you write at your own pace, with respect, of course, with respect to the deadline. But for example, if you're given a daily task, ikaw magmamanage ng time mo. So, dapat you know how to manage your schedule. So, that's one thing. Produce well-researched content, okay? So, you can't rely on stock knowledge when you write. Okay, so we know, okay, alam mo, aware ka. But, you have a responsibility to your audience. You have to make your content credible. So how do you do that? So you research. Produce a well-researched content. So ayun. Make sure when you write pala, only choose content from reputable sources. So yung Wikipedia is a no-no because alam niyo naman, people can edit the information on Wikipedia. And I think yung pinaka-credible sources, yung may .gov, .edu, at saka yung mga researches, mga peer-reviewed articles, those are credible sources. So you could use them as backup for your article. So ayun, it should be well researched. And then conduct keyword research and incorporate these keywords to the article. So this is what I told you about earlier. Okay, so you need keywords and then you have to incorporate them naturally. Okay, so sometimes kasi may mga clients na they have so many keywords that they want you to incorporate in their article. Sometimes kasi sobrang dami, parang hindi na siya nagiging natural. So, but your role as a content writer is to avoid keyword stuffing. Ano yung keyword stuffing? Sa isang sentence, nilagay mo ang lahat ng, let's say, 5 keywords. Nilagay mo doon. Or sa isang paragraph, nilagay mo yung 10 keywords. That's keyword stuffing because when you read the paragraph, it won't sound natural. Okay, oo, sige, you satisfy the keyword requirement, but it doesn't sound natural. When the reader reads it, diba, it doesn't make sense. So, diba, parang nakakabawas siya ng credibility ng article. And in your case, the credibility of the writer. So, aside from incorporating keywords, it should be naturally done. Okay? And then, avoid keyword stuffing. Okay? And by the way, most of the time, yung keywords ng client, sometimes they sound awkward. Halimbawa, car accident lawyer in Ajax, Ontario. Halimbawa, ganon. Yung natural way of putting it. But for example, yung client mo, sabi niya, gusto niya, car accident lawyer Ajax. Diba? Pag basahin mo, parang parang may kulang. Most of the time, unless expressly provided by the client, you can't add yung mga words in between. So, just stick to the requirement ng keyword. Kung ano yung exactly sinabi ng client, that's how you use the keyword in your article. Okay. Next, another role of a content writer is to ensure that their content is fresh, engaging, relevant, free from grammatical errors and plagiarism. So another thing aside from plagiarism is yung grammatical errors. So subject-verb agreement, so we should be able to master that. Okay, and then yung mga idioms, make sure that we use idioms properly. If we don't know how to use yung parang mga highfalutin words na sinasabi nila, if we don't know how to use it properly in the sentence, disregard that. Make it as simple as you can. Kasi pag simple siya, it's easier. Parang mas less error yon. And then yung mga complex compound sentences, yung puro comma or semicolon. So instead of using simple compound sentences, complex compound pala, break it into ideas. Learn how to use periods, comma, or yung mga semicolon. Pero yung pinaka-safest, ang safest talaga dyan is period. Tapos, lagyan mo ng connecting word. However, but, yet, mga ganon. So, lagyan mo para, even though they're two or more separate sentences, you can see that the point is connected or the idea is connected. Okay? So, later on, we'll also teach you tool on how to check your grammar. I think most of you are familiar with Grammarly, so we'll get to know more of that later on. Okay? So, ayun. Next is, again, paulit-ulit itong SEO. Okay? Search Engine Optimization Strategies. Ito yung mga keywords. Okay? So, you need that because you have to be visible online. The articles or the website that you're representing, the client that you're writing for, their business should be visible online, and you can do that by helping them with their SEO. Okay? Ay, sorry. Nawala na naman, I think. Okay. Okay, next is, so we're clear on the role of the writer. So next is, what are the qualifications of a content writer? Okay, actually, if you want to be a content writer and then you're not parang you still don't have other qualities, but for as long as you have the eagerness, I believe this, for as long as you have the eagerness to learn the rigors of the trade, you can be a content writer despite of your background. Yung parang you're open to learning, to new experiences. If you're open to that, so I think that's a good start. Okay, but for example, gusto mo talagang mag-improve na. So what do you need to improve on? So we'll be talking about that here. So first, ability to understand instructions well. Ayun, kasi yung clients, they give a set, when they order, okay, they have instructions from as simple as formatting through to ano yung keywords na incorporate, number of words, or ano yung angle of story that they want. They're very particular on that. So as a content writer, first thing, you really have to understand the instruction. Kasi, di ba, ano naman yung use ng very well-written article pero hindi siya nag-match sa instruction ng client. Diba? It will be rejected or uulitin mo na naman. So, from the start, just read the instruction, understand it well, and then if you have clarifications, raise that before you write para hindi ka nagsasayang ng effort. Okay? Next. Ay. Always na mawala. Next is impeccable grasp of the English language, including idioms and current trends in slang and expression. Of course, most of the time, yung orders are, in English talaga. So, it's rare that you receive content orders na should be written in the vernacular. So, since yun yung medium of ng pagsusulat mo, dapat you also have an impeccable grasp of the English language. So this could be learned, okay? And you also have grammar grammar tools to help you. But yeah, first start, dapat, you have understanding of the language. Proper use of idioms and yung mga slang and expressions. Again, if you're unsure of the idioms, how to use them, Google is your friend. Okay, you could always research and then apply it in your writing. Please. Okay, next. Ability to work independently and submit within the deadline. So actually, this is, a persistent problem sa mga writers. Especially some of the writers that we've worked with. Minsan yung mga magagaling, they are quite late on submission. Yung mga mabilis naman magsulat, they're lacking on the quality, and then yung parang nirarush lahat, hindi na pag-isipan ng maayos. So they submit within the deadline, but we have to repeat the process kasi nga hindi quality yung work. Yung role mo as a content writer also includes, your ability to work on your own and submit your work within the deadline. So it's professionalism na, for example, if you really can't submit your work, compromise. And how do you compromise? You ask or you communicate with your client, or for example, if you're working for an agency, your editor, you communicate ahead of time that you're not able to work because of this and that. So at least they will have enough time to reassign the task to somebody who can submit within the deadline. Okay, so again, I would like to emphasize your ability to submit your content, high quality content within the deadline also speaks about your credibility as a writer. So, pangalagaan mo yan. Capitalize on that. Okay? Next, strong interpersonal skills and willingness to communicate. Ayun. Kasi, di ba, we're working remotely. Ang hirap naman, if your clients would chase you kasi unresponsive ka or hindi ka marunong mag-communicate. So you really also have to work your interpersonal skills kasi lalo na pag freelance content writer ka, yung wala kang fixed client and then you'll have to look for your own clients. Your networking skills, the way yung parang paano ka makipagay sa clients mo, that's very important because that will land you work. That will give you gigs. Okay? And then, ability to work on multiple projects with different objectives simultaneously. So for example, sabi ko kanina, 'di ba, hindi lang naman isa ang client or hindi lang naman isa yung project that you're working on. So you have to be flexible to be able to work on different projects with different demands or different objects. Like for example, today may blog post ka, may guest post ka, may web copy ka. So, 'di ba, these are three different writing gigs, or these are three different assignments. So dapat you know how to jump, you're flexible enough to know kung ano yung demands ng web copy, ano yung demands ng guest post, and how is it different from a blog post. Dapat alam mo yon, diba? So ayun, that's very important. And then good time management skills. This is very related sa submitting within the deadline. Okay, so halimbawa ang dami mong project, so you have to know, 'di ba kasi you're working on your own, and then unless kung may tracker ka, 'di ba? Some agencies have time trackers, pero that's counterproductive. Yung may mga trackers tapos nagsusulat, 'di ba? Kasi yung writers, hindi mo naman mapipilit na yung parang may idea ka talaga to write now. But even if, may mga exact time ka talaga or may mga time ka talaga kung saan mas creative ka, you have to learn how to manage your emotions, you have to learn how to manage your mood, and then para mag-swak siya dun sa deadline mo. Okay? Kasi hindi lang naman ito parang charity or something you do for a hobby. This is something you do to earn money, 'di ba? So you have to master your mood, master your emotion, and then respect deadlines. Improve your time management skills. Ito pa. Oh yes. More qualifications. Ito. Very basic ito na requirements for a writer. You have to be proficient with computers, especially writing programs such as Google Docs, Microsoft Word, Excel, Outlook, and PowerPoint. Pero sa writer, most of the time, you use Google Docs or Microsoft Word. Para mas efficient pag gamitin mo yung Google Docs kasi yung sa experience ko kung Microsoft Word, minsan hindi nagsisync yung mga changes na ina-apply mo dun sa article. So, it's better to use Google Docs kasi yung changes na-apply in real time. And then you can simply share the link to your client or to your editor, okay? And then they could check the article. Okay, so if you're not yet proficient with Google Docs, madali lang siyang gamitin. You can even add as an extension yung Grammarly, tsaka yung mga ibang tools pa na pwedeng gamitin. Okay? Then, familiarity with each client's requirements and the company's brand image, products, and services. I think this is yung second part, company's brand image, this is very useful in writing web copies. Yung mga content for client websites. Okay, so you have to be familiar with the brand image kasi you'll be writing in behalf of the client. You're selling the products and services of the client to their target market. So how can you sell if you're not familiar, diba? How can you persuade people if you don't know the salient features of the products and services? So ayun, that's another qualification of a content writer. Okay, so next, since we're done with the qualification, let's move to this question. Are content writers in demand? Okay, so actually, before the pandemic, in demand na talaga ang content writers. But yung demand na-boost talaga ng pandemic. Why? Because people are at home and then, since they can't go out to go to the grocery or, shop, diba? So, yan, nauso yung mga online shopping, yung mga everything that's done online. So, even yung mga department stores or mga retail chain, they have websites wherein, diba, they're competing with other businesses in the same industry. So, what they do is para to get the attention of their target market is they have to use content. Diba? Yung search algorithm consensus has allowed companies to understand what they are supposed to be posting. Okay? So, diba, how do you get the attention of your target market if they don't know about you? Kasi nasa bahay lang sila. So, you really have to be visible online because that's where most people are. Okay? So, ayun. They keep changing, they keep themselves updated with the changes. So, that's why, credible blog posts can increase traffic by almost 50% through indexing and ranking. So, indexing and ranking, that's the job of Google. So, again, if you adhere to sound search optimization strategies, you can help your client's website have a better ranking on Google searches or other searches on yung mga search engines. Okay. And then this is another answer to the question if in demand ba ang mga writers. There are now about 400 million active websites worldwide. Okay, almost double the number in 2019. So this is according to Hosting Tribunal, but this article is from Forbes, so it's credible. So you could really believe that it's true. So this is driving demand for people who can write compelling content. So if you could help this 400 million active websites, promote their services and products through content, so you can earn serious money. Okay, so if you find the right client, you could earn a lot of money as well. So again, freelancer.com reports that during the first quarter of 2021, postings for blog writers, medical writers, and assistants with book writing were all up. So you could say, simply put, to answer the question, are writers in demand? Yes, they are. So if you're really thinking about, dabbling into content writing, so now is the right time. Okay, because the demand is high. What role or what careers, okay, or ano yung mga pwedeng content writing gigs that you can apply for? First, freelance blogger. So actually yung mga freelance, 'di ba? Like most of us, we're not employed with a specific client. So we're looking for our clients in different platforms like Upwork, OLJ, or Facebook groups. So yung freelance blogger, so they focus on blog writing. Okay, so mga blog posts ng clients. Then we also have technical writers. So yung technical writer, usually yung work nila is technical content like yung mga how to, mga technical papers like let's say, how to, how to be a, what you call this, ano ba yung mga technical topic? How to invest in blockchain, something like that. So that's technical writing. Okay, yung mga white paper, that those things that dabble on technical content. So that's the job of a technical writer. So actually, according to yung mga experts in the industry, yung technical writer and finance writer, they're like on the higher tier ng mga writers. Parang kumbaga kung may mga well-paid content writers, they're on the top, yung finance tsaka technical writer. Why? Because yung demand ng job nila. If you're a technical writer, aside from researching, you also have to provide yung mga content sources. Dapat aware ka yung sa mga APA, 7th edition, MLA, yung mga styling guides, academic styling guides. And then next to technical writer, we have academic writers. So meron kasing mga, I'm not sure if you're aware, but there are a lot of platforms offering yung mga services nila sa students. Like they're the ones writing essays, technical paper, or yung mga academic papers ng students. So they also hire writers for that. So academic writers. So they focus on academic papers, essays, yung mga requirements sa school. Okay? And then we have finance writer, focus in finance related content. So if you're really good in finance, this is a good career, yung finance writer. Kasi 'di ba, as I've said earlier, parang sa higher tier sila ng mga content writers along with technical writers. Okay? Then we also have SEO writer. Okay? So they focus more on optimizing content. So sila yung, 'di ba, earlier I talked about keywords, primary keywords, secondary keywords, long tail keywords. They're more focused on that. Okay? They're helping their client rank better in Google. Then we have content strategists. So they are more on yung parang, I'm not sure if you're familiar with yung CGO. So sometimes meron kasing mga companies when their client orders, meron ng computer generated orders. And nandun na yung mga anong references na gusto ng client, ano yung keywords na gusto ng client. The content strategist is the one doing that. So they're managing kung ano yung parang sometimes nga it's very specific. Like they give you an outline. Ano yung structure ng article na gusto nila for the client. Like meron silang heading na binibigay, may mga subheadings. And then all you have to do as a content writer is to provide the content that your content strategist suggested that you write about. Okay? So more on managing content na yung role nila. And then we have long form content writer. So before, when I started writing, medyo uso pa yung short form content, yung mga 500 words, 600, pero now napansin ko yung mga orders ng clients, it's more on long form na talaga, 1,000 words, 2,000 words, 3,000 words. So yun, that's the job of a long form content writer. But pwede din yung freelance blogger maging long form content writer, or if you're that versatile na you could shift from one role to another. Okay, so ayun. So I think if you're flexible na you can manage the work of a finance writer and then an academic writer and a technical writer and then long form content writer at the same time, that's a very good investment for yourself. You could have more clients for that because yung capability mo and your ability sa writer is medyo malawak. Okay? So ayun. But don't worry if you're not if you can't still identify yourself with a specific role, that's okay. If you're still starting, get the feel of the industry, and then later on you'll know na parang feeling ko mas effective ako in this part. Mas gusto kong mag long form content kesa yung short form, kasi yung long form the diretsong ideas, and then you can expound more, something like that. So you'll know later on kung saan ka talaga swak dito. But for purposes of discussion, so I'll present you with that. Okay? And then next, we have how much can a content writer expect to earn in a month. So actually, it really depends on you. Okay? So if you're a freelance writer kasi, kung ano yun, what you call this, kung gaano ka kasipag, that's the amount of money that comes in to you. So kung halimbawa everyday ka nag-work, and then you peg a higher price for your services, of course, you'll get a lot of money in the end. But kung tatamad-tamad ka, like kung kailan mo lang feel magsulat, so you can't expect to earn as much, right? So basically, kasi most writing gigs are freelance gigs talaga. So it could be paid by a project. Usually yung mga academic writers, I have a friend who works for a certain company, and then yung task niya is to write essays. Yung isang course ng student, she takes care of that. And then she's paid by project. So I think yung one course is $300 plus $50 if the student gets a grade of A. Okay, so that's the flat rate or by project. Then you could also be paid by the hour. Okay, meron ding mga companies direct hire yung writers. Meron silang time tracking tool. And within 8 hours you're supposed to write, and then you're paid by the hour. Okay, that could be the case as well. Or you could be paid by the word. So magkano ba yung charge mo per word? So it's up to you. You negotiate with your client kung how much or how do you want to be paid. You could also be paid by the page. I think yung mga academic writers, they charge like $8 per page. Yung double space, yung Arial 12 na font, or Times New Roman na font na 12, they charge $8 for that or lesser. If the client agrees, then there's no problem. So you could also charge retainer fee for ongoing work. So ayun, kahit may mga times na walang task, but the agreement is retainer's fee, so you'll still get paid, okay, regardless if there's a task or not. Okay, so this is an example lang. As a writer, kasi if you really want to take this seriously and then gawin mo talaga siyang bread and butter mo, the best thing to do is to set, kung halimbawa, how much do I want to earn in a month. Okay, so kung ma-identify mo kung how much you want to earn, plus you also factor in kung magkano yung charge mo per hour, and then how many hours in a week lang do you want to work, so you could probably get yung expected salary mo. So depende sa'yo kung gusto mo mag-earn ng 50,000 pesos in a month, so how much do you want to charge if you want to work 8 hours a day. So you can do the math, okay? And then, when you negotiate with your client, when you negotiate, then know your worth. Kasi as a writer, don't accept lowball offers, but at the same time, i-assess mo din yung sarili mo. What am I bringing to the table to deserve this amount of pay, 'di ba? So you know that. So ayun. So now, let's move to some important writing principles, okay? So first, use clear language, okay? So sometimes yung mga writers, parang you have this urge to impress your audience or your reader. So what do? You use yung mga highfalutin words, yung mga words na complicated, legal jargon, medical jargon. So I think it's better kasi you write for you to be understood. Hindi naman to write to impress, 'di ba? Yun yung ang goal natin, is to deliver the message in the most understandable way. So how do you do that? Use clear and simple language. The simpler, the better. Actually, no, if you write and then you run your article on Hemingway app, so you will really have to be, mapo-force ka talaga to shorten your sentences, to make it simple. Kasi ang daming marks, may yellow, may blue, may red. So kung red, meaning to say parang mahirap na siyang intindihin, there's a certain grade level. So I think we're aiming to be understood by a general audience. So unless na lang ha, you're writing for the legal community or you're writing for the medical community or for the finance industry. Okay, unless there's an express instruction to use mga jargons of a certain industry. So let's stick with clear language, clear and simple language. Okay. Next, be concise. Okay. Let's keep it short and sweet. Yun yung sabi nila, short and sweet. Yun. Parang if you can express yourself in the shortest way possible, na parang may oomph din siya. So let's go for that. Okay. Be objective. Again, unless you're writing about, for example, a reaction paper or something about your reaction, so it could be subjective. But in most articles, you have to be objective. Dapat reasonable yung sinusulat mo. And how could you be reasonable and objective when you write? You use yung mga sources that I mentioned you earlier, yung mga credible sources. Quote from a reputable source, or cite a certain study to support your claim. So that's how you become more objective. Okay? So wag lang yung you think, because most of the time the readers don't care what you think unless it's an editorial, diba, or unless it's an opinion page. But if you're writing about something na parang they should gain general knowledge from, it should be objective. Okay? Ayun. And then present the information in the most suitable way. So sometimes kasi yung, for example, yung mga technical writing gigs or academic papers or yung mga finance articles, they should be formal. Yung tone must be formal. So dapat as a writer, you should know kung formal ba, everyday informal, or yung pwede bang casual yung writing style. So you have to identify that as well, para you could present your article or your ideas in the right way. So pwede siya kung halimbawa kung entertainment article, pwede kang maging parang less formal. Pero pag if it's a study or if it's again like about tech, article about tech, so you have to be formal in that case. Okay, so ang trick there is to know when you should be formal and when you should be informal. Then revise and rewrite. So ito, sometimes when we rush yung tasks, we don't go back to revise or rewrite. Kung ano na yung nasulat, wala na, tapos na. But if you're building your credibility, you want to be accurate. So how can you be accurate if hindi mo binalikan yung sinulat mo? So you have to polish your article before you submit. Okay? So revise if there are ideas na unclear, yung mga hindi na cut na ideas, very long, complex, compound sentences. So you revise that. In my experience, what I do is, I write first. Parang, sige, ito yung topic. Sige, sulat. Parang wala mo ng censorship. Sulat lang. And then after I'm done writing, I go back and then that's the time that I polish. That's the time that I revise. Or merong parts na I need i-rewrite. So, ayun. So, it's really important that you have to go back and polish. Ayun. And with a clear and convincing call to action. So important, unless sabi ng client na there's no need for a call to action, dapat talaga maglagay ng call to action. Ano yung call to action? That ties loose ends of your article. Halimbawa, if you started with a bang, you end with a bang. And then parang full circle ba yung story mo. For example, you're talking about, let's say, ano ba ang magandang, you're talking about corporate video production. So, in your article, sige, nag-mention ka na doon ng examples of excellent corporate video production practices. At the end of your article, ano yung CTA mo? Yung CTA will depend kung ano yung gusto mo mangyari. So, do you want the audience to purchase the product of your client? Or do you want them to try corporate video production by this particular client? So you have to know first what's your objective, because that's where dyan yung basis ng CTA mo. So usually convincing dapat yung it should move your readers to do a favorable action sa part mo. So again, most of the time it's buying a product, or calling this particular number because that's the number of your client. Okay, so for example sa lawyer, balik tayo sa lawyer. So if you're in need of a personal injury lawyer in Ajax, Ontario, call blah 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 law agency now for free consultation, something like that. So that's a clear CTA, and it's also convincing because you're building urgency. Now you should have to do it now because you need them now. Okay? So that's what CTA is. Ayun. So next, so ito yung sinasabi ko earlier, 8 steps to write from scratch. Okay? So sometimes kasi pag nagsusulat tayo, yung parang ang hirap hagilapin ng idea. Ang hirap mag-start. So in writing, ang pinakamahirap talaga is start. Hindi lang in writing, in almost everything, yung magsimula, 'di ba? So when you have a writing task, the first thing that should get you going is choose a topic. Okay, and choosing a topic, ano yung consideration mo? Balik ka doon sa sinabi natin earlier. Relevant ba siya? Engaging ba siya? Will my readers be interested to read this if this is what I write about? Okay? But again, kung given naman yung topic ng client, so skip ka na sa part na choosing a topic. Ang gawin mo na next, after choosing a topic, is what angle of the story will I talk about para ma-engage yung audience ko. Kasi importante din yung angle. Ayun. Okay? What point of view? Okay, next, research and draw inspiration from personal experiences. Mas madaling magsulat if you could relate to it. Okay? But not naman on a subjective level, 'di ba? Personal experience kasi in one way or another, yung mga topics mo, these are human interests. These are things that people like us, also dabble in. So in one way or another, we have an experience related to this. So draw on that personal experience para maging motivated ka to write. And then don't forget to research. Okay? So actually, pag nag-research ka, mas maganda talaga meron kang outline. Okay? And then kung halimbawa, if you're not the person who is fond of, really writing it down, pwede kang mag-mind mapping. Halimbawa, sit down, think. Okay? Think of the big idea. Isip ka muna. Yung sabi nilang inverted pyramid. Think of the big idea. So, ano yung gusto kong mangyari sa article ko? What do I want to achieve at the end? Okay? And then from there, isip ka kung ano yung mga subtopics na pwede mong gawin or i-add to achieve yung main idea or to reach the main conclusion na gusto mo. Okay? That's mind mapping. Okay? And then, next, diba, sabi ko, draft a solid outline. It would really help if you have an outline. Kasi minsan, pag nagsusulat tayo, lalo na for example, yung parang intuit talaga tayo, yung parang feel natin yung topic, na feeling din natin, cohesive yung idea natin na it makes sense. Kasi sige, sulat lang, Tapos in the end, pagbasa mo, parang na-lost ka in your own thoughts. Diba? We don't want that to happen. Kasi, di ba, in the middle ka na, tapos na lost na yung article, uulitin mo na naman. So it's better, it's a good practice na you have to yung parang you have to what do you call this? You have to limit your idea. You have parang i-tame mo siya, kumbaga, by writing an outline. Ano lang yung isasali ko na hindi naman ako mag-out of topic. Okay? So it's really a good practice. Okay? To draft a solid outline. Mas madali na lang. If you have an outline, mas madali na lang magsulat. Okay? And then, next is, we have, okay, then we have, write your heart out without censorship. Di ba may outline ka na? Ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo earlier. Now, when you write, at first, write ka muna without censoring yourself. Okay? Later ka na mag-edit. Doon ka na sa editing part, mag-censor, mag-limit. Okay? So, sa start, write your heart out without censorship. Okay? Next, edit. Pag natapos ka na, dun muna i-polish yung article mo. Okay? So, at least, diba, kasi minsan, when we write, tapos isi-censor natin agad yung thoughts natin, we can't move forward. Parang, ay, mali to, pangit to, ay, hindi, it doesn't make sense. Okay? But make sure yung sinusulat mo is according to your outline para hindi naman kalat, 'di ba? Hindi sabog yung article mo. Okay? So ayun, edit. Okay, so parang sabi nila, alis ka muna. Like for example, nakaupo ka, 'di ba? And then after you're done writing, break ka muna kahit 10 to 15 minutes lang, alis ka. Then balikan mo siya. So pag clear na yung mind mo, that's the time that you can edit better. Kasi, 'di ba, parang nag-detach ka muna sa article mo. Okay, next, format and optimize. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, yung mga clients, most of the time, they have their own formatting style. My client na gusto yung title is naka-title case. Meron naman gusto nila heading 1. Tapos yung subheading, heading 2, ganon. So, that's the time you format, you optimize, you add your keywords. Ito pala, sometimes may mga writers na when they write, while they're writing the article, that's the time that they add the keywords. But for me, it's better na it's after you write that you fill in the keywords. Kasi it sounds more natural if you do it that way. Kasi pag nakasulat ka na, mahahanapan mo lang siya ng way kung saan mo siya pwedeng incorporate, saan mo siya pwedeng idagdag to make it sound neutral. Pero kung halabang nagsusulat ka, dun ka na problema kung paano mo yung keyword incorporate, mas unnatural sounding siya. So, it's better to do it after. But if you think it works for you na when you're writing, you're also optimizing, go for it if you're more comfortable with that. But in my case, that's what I suggest after na kasi mas natural. Next is end with a bang. So, 'di ba? You start with a bang. Ano yung start with a bang? Engage your audience. Dapat they should want to read this. Okay? And then, 'di ba, kung nag-start ka ng may mga fireworks, dapat you should end it with more fireworks. Parang meron siyang tawag doon, may recall. Parang it's something that they'll remember. Okay? So para namang ang hirap naman kasi nung 'di ba, you don't want to write a piece na forgettable, na parang hindi siya nag-mark dun sa audience mo. It's better that you end it with a bang because I've read that somewhere kasi 'di ba, there's a lesson, there's a very strong call to action, or there's an anecdote na tumatak sa kanila because you ended your story or your article piece with a bang. And then choose a compelling headline. Ito, very applicable kasi most of the time, yung clients mo would require you to write yung mga, meta description, or Twitter message, or yung parang sa picture, yung caption na ilalagay mo doon. So, after you finish your article, that's the time you come up with the headline para naman masummarize mo yung ending ng article mo in like 150 words, 150 characters, okay, na headline. Okay? So So, ayun. So, these are the 8 steps to write from scratch. This may sound easier said than done, no? But when you get to practice this, sa start, mahirap siya. But, as you go on, you repeat the process, you'll get the hang of it. And it will be easier. Okay? So, ayan, sa start, don't beat yourself up na parang ang hirap mag-draw from personal experience, ang hirap mag-outline, ang hirap gumawa, mag-isip ng topic na relevant. But with practice, wala naman kasing madali. If you want to be good at something, kailangan mo you have to sweat it out. Diba? You have to do your best, You have to, lalo pa pag if it's something new for you, you really have to exert effort. Okay? So, ayun. Next, writing mistakes to avoid. Okay, this is from Grammarly. Okay? Kasi 'di ba yung writing tool natin is Grammarly. And they're very kasi ang maganda sa Grammarly is very they pick up even the smallest, yung minor na errors mo, mapipick up nila, and then merong score doon, and then you'll see kung ano yung tone ba, engaging ba siya, may problem ka ba with word tone or delivery or something like that. So yes, these are some common mistakes to avoid. Overuse of adverbs. These are 2 examples, okay? First sentence, the boy ran really fast to catch the runaway ball. Is there something wrong with the sentence? The boy ran really fast to catch the runaway ball. Parang it sounds okay, but there's a better way of putting it. The boy sprinted to catch the runaway ball. Okay? So parang there's in the first sentence, there's overuse of adverbs. But it was improved when you change ran really fast to sprinted. Okay? Power words. Okay? Synonyms. Make use of your synonyms. Okay? So, ayun. Next is too many prepositional phrases. These are 2 examples. The caravan came over the top of the hill. Parang if you read, ano daw? But if you change it to the caravan crested the hill, it sounds more professional and it sounds more authoritative. And mas correct siya. And correct siya pala than the first one. Okay? Too many prepositional phrases. Next is ambiguous or eto, grabe, si Grammarly is very good in picking up squinting modifiers. Okay? Eto, listening to loud music slowly. This is your squinting modifier. Gives me a headache. So it's improved by when I listen to loud music, I slowly develop a headache. 'Di ba mas madaling pakinggan or mas madaling basahin yung second sentence compared to the first sentence. Although the first sentence kasi 'di ba when we speak parang that's the way we speak. Pero sometimes kasi you have to vary to avoid yung mga errors. Pag nagsusulat ka kasi it's a different thing. Kasi people can go back to what you write and then they could check if it's, it's grammatically correct, the structure is correct. Okay, so we have to be an authority when we write. So that's why it's better and it sounds good pag ganito. Okay? And then we have run-on sentences. Ayan. Let's take a look at the example. First sentence. Lila enjoyed the bouquet of tulips John gave her on prom night. However, she prefers roses. Parang 'di ba, 2 different ideas pinagsama mo sa isang sentence without the proper punctuation. So, 'yun, nagkagulo. But this is the proper way of putting it. Nag-add ng semicolon and then comma after however. So, it's better. Okay? Then next, we have wordiness. Ito. Some writers kasi, yung parang, di ba, gusto mo i-express yung nasa utak mo in the best possible way. The problem is, kung ano yung sa utak mo, medyo magulo minsan, so that reflects on your sentences, yung wordiness na tinatawag. So, at first, I'm very guilty of this when I started writing, no? Yung parang complex compound sentences sa last. I-mix lahat sa isang sentence because I feel like, I could create impact with too many words. But that's a no-no pala. It's the simpler, the better, di ba? It has come to our attention that your tax returns are overdue and we urge you to file them at your earliest convenience. It's understandable, but there's a better way of phrasing it. Your tax returns are overdue. Please file them now. 'Di ba? Mas relaxed kapag nagbasa ka ng second sentences than the first one. So that's also your parang cue din as a writer. Kung feeling mo parang nasi-stress ka pagbasa ng sentence mo, there's a very high chance that you should rephrase it. Break it. Don't be afraid to break it into 2 or more sentences. Okay? So okay lang 'yan. So ayun. So 5 lang muna na common writing mistakes para wag naman tayong masyadong ma-overwhelm. Okay? So next, we already came to this part, the essential writing tools. Okay? First, I already introduced this earlier, Google Docs. Okay, so we also have MS Word, Microsoft Word, Grammarly, Copyscape, and small SEO tools. So actually, there are still a lot of other writing tools, but for a start, this mastery of these tools are more than enough na. Okay, so let's start with Google Docs. This is how it looks like. Okay, so ayan. This if meron kang Gmail account, you also have your Google Drive. Tapos, what you do is you add a file lang to your Google Drive. Tapos, in Google Docs, that's where you should start writing. Okay, this is how it look like. Ang benefit niya is, again, yung changes are applied in real time. And then if somebody would have to collaborate or edit your article, you could work on the same document and then makakapture yung version history. Like malalaman kung sino yung nag-edit ng article mo, or you could revert it to the original article just in case gusto mong alisin yung mga changes na in-apply. Okay? So ayun, this is how it looks like. Okay? Next is we have, ay, bakit? Wait lang, balik. Next is, I think everyone is familiar naman sa Microsoft Word, no? So let's just skip that part. Pero rarely na kasi siya ginagamit. Most of the time, it's already on Google Docs. Okay, next we have Grammarly. Actually, ang Grammarly, you could use it as an app dun sa website nila, yung web-based nila. And then you could also add it as an extension on Chrome. Okay, so this is an example of Grammarly app added as an extension on Chrome. So ipin mo siya dito and then just click that para mag-run yung Grammarly. So this is how, yung mga nakikita nyo sa left side ng screen, I think. Left side ng screen, these are corrections. Actually, hindi lahat ng Grammarly corrections dapat nyo yes. Kasi sometimes, still, balik ka pa rin sa yung tingin mo proper way. So, as a practice, yung parang standard practice for me, una is you write, diba? Tapos, i-edit mo, and then run Grammarly. After editing sa Grammarly, balikan mo siya. Read it. Maya always emphasized this to us na the best way to edit is you read it aloud. Parang, if it sounds okay, if it sounds correct, then most probably it's okay. But if it sounds awkward when you read it aloud, so there's really a problem with your sentences. So, after running it through Grammarly, make it a habit to manually check by reading it aloud. Okay? So, usually, na-check na to sa Grammarly, but usually don't be overwhelmed. Pag chinek mo siya, lalo na sa Grammarly Premium, aabot yan minsan, lalo pag long form, aabot yan ng 100 plus dito. So, don't be overwhelmed. Go over it one by one. Kung sa tingin mo, tama yung suggestion ni Grammarly. But again, Grammarly is a reliable tool, lalo na pa yung sa mga minor glitch or mga squinting modifiers, yung very long, sa hard to understand or hard to read sentences, they're very good at that. Tapos yung mga paulit-ulit na words, they could pick up on that. Pati yung spacing in between sentences, they could pick up on that. So that's how reliable Grammarly is. But you know, app siya. So it's still mas reliable pa rin yung tao behind, behind the piece. So after Grammarly, check it by yourself. Then aside sa Chrome extension, pwede mo siyang gamitin. Ito kasi shared to na premium account na binili ko na shared siya. So that's why makakita kayo mga ibang article dyan. But for example, you also purchase shared account na premium. Ang gawin nyo is, right, kung for example gusto nyo makita yung score nyo sa Grammarly, and then also Grammarly Premium, meron silang plagiarism checker. So kung gusto mong makita yung kung may na plagiarize or ilang percent ang plagiarized, dito mo siya iraran. Click new, mali. Click new and then i-paste mo yung article mo, tas magra-run yan siya. Tas click plagiarism checker, makikita mo. And then, ang last way ng pag-check sa Grammarly is through MS Word. Kasi meron silang ang tool na built-in, ay hindi siya built-in actually. I-install mo siya sa Microsoft Word para dun mo i-check. So, pwede din yon. If you're more comfortable writing on Microsoft Word, I suggest you add Grammarly for Microsoft Word. So, same logins lang yan sila lahat. Okay? Ayun. So, by the way, kung bibili ka ng Grammarly, it's quite pricey, but it's an investment kung writer ka. So, actually, may mga shared accounts naman na good for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months to 1 year. Or meron din na mga account na solo, premium, sa Lazada, you can buy. You can just search, then, meron naman doon. So, less pricey siya, mga $299 or $199, mga ganun. Pero ang problem lang nila is, for example, 2 years or 1 year, mga 3 months or 6 months, unresponsive na si seller. So, be careful lang. Proceed at your own risk. Okay? Next, we have Copyscape. Ito yung plagiarism tool na paid. So, ito, ako, since I started writing, I also invested in my own Copyscape account. So, actually, $5 yung minimum. Pero pag maggamit ka ng credit card or debit card, you could load $5 credit minimum. Pero pag PayPal kasi, $10 yung minimum nila. But don't worry kasi just in case you decide to invest on Copyscape, hindi naman siya mahal. Kasi yung 500 words, $0.20 lang siya. $0.20 lang. So, hindi siya yung $5 mo, parang tagal-tagal niya maubos yung credits mo. Unless if you're always running yung mga long form articles, kasi minsan yung mga 10,000 words na nasa $1 na yon, $1.09. Kasi nag-run ako ng sample kanina para ipakita sana. So, ayun. Ito yung wala pang laman na, wala ka pang sinesearch na article. This is how it looks like pag nag-search ka and na-flag, na plagiarize. Ito yung post mo. Ay, sorry, mali. Balik tayo. Ito yung sa baba. Ito yung, mali. Sorry. Move, balik. 11 results. Ibig sabihin, yung pinost mo is a plagiarized content. 11 results, 11 websites ang may similar content. Okay? Pag i-click mo yan, makikita mo kung ano yung mga na-flag as plagiarized content. Okay? Pero, pag halimbawa, ang content mo is original and fresh, ikaw talaga, and then walang plagiarized, this is how it will look like. No results found for text you pasted. Okay? So, ayun. Tapos, if you don't want to pay for plagiarism checker and then you don't want to use Grammarly kasi hindi premium yung account mo, you can still make use of small SEO tools. Ito, although it's not paid, free siya, but it's very reliable. Okay, small SEO tools, plagiarism checker. Meron lang silang parang checklist kung robot ka ba or ano. Just comply with that and then run. Yung limit lang nila for every run is 1,000 words. So, medyo hassle siya pag halimbawa 3,000 or 10,000 words because you have to break your article per 1,000 words. Ayun. So, ayan, pag iniran mo siya, pag may plagiarized content, pag walang plagiarize, 0 yan dyan. 0 plagiarism, 100% unique. Pero ito kasi it's I just want to show you kung ano how it looks like pag may plagiarize. Sorry. Ayan, sorry. Makikita nyo, 98% plagiarism, 2% unique. So, you would see that it's really working. Okay, it's a working tool. So, you can take note of that and you could also use that. Okay? So, ayun. Those are the basic tools you can use when writing. So, now, tapos na tayo sa tools. So, sige, ready ka na mag-apply for a writing gig. So, what to prepare? First, your resume. Okay, so, for example, this is your first time to apply for a freelance job. Yung resume mo, for example, is 6 pages. Kasi, di ba, you want to, really impress your employer. Kung if it works in yung corporate world na may physical office, hindi, it doesn't work sa online. You have to shorten your resume, capitalize on your skills based doon sa job requirement. So, for example, they're looking for a technical writer and you think you have what it takes to be a credible technical writer. So, your resume should be able to show that. Your past experiences, or on the job training ka ba, or meron ka bang inattend na training session that give you a certificate, that should be shown on your resume. So as much as possible, keep your resume one or 1.5 pages long. Okay? Kasi, di ba, we know na people are busy, they don't have time to skim over a 6 pages resume. So, di ba, wala ka na, ligwak ka na if that's the case. So, pag kita pa lang, alam na you have the skill. So, ayun. First, capitalize on your resume. Second, build your writing portfolio. This is very important if you're a content writer. Kasi 'di ba, they don't know you personally, 'di ba? Kahit naman nanalo ka ng mga awards before, your prospective client doesn't know about that. So how do you let them know that you have what it takes to be a writer, to be their next writer? You have to show them your writing portfolio. So ano ba yung pwedeng include sa writing portfolio? Mas maganda sana if you have past writing gigs na, for example, your client said na, you can use that, or pwede din yung sinulat mo. I think the best way kung halimbawa wala ka talagang past writing portfolio is to write ngayon. Write ka ngayon, magsulat ka ngayon kung halimbawa ang in-applyan mo, they're looking for a writer in the medical industry, or writer in the real estate industry. So write an article in that industry. Tapos gawin mo siyang part ng writing portfolio mo. Or pwede din, meron kasing iba na writing agencies or mga organization na they accept para mga on-the-job trainees wherein, yung output mo, pwede mo gawing portfolio. You could also go that route. Pero if you think na, pwede mo namang isulat, then pwede kang gumawa ng portfolio mo, so be that. Okay? Pwede din yung mga previous blog posts mo. You could also use that as your writing portfolio. Just make sure that it's your best example. Parang, kung sa lahat-lahat ng mga writing tasks na nagawa mo in your entire life, these are the best. Kasi, it's like, selling yourself. So, you have to put your best foot forward. So, you can do that by presenting your best writing pieces. Okay, so usually yung writing portfolio nasa Google Docs na lang. Tapos share ka na lang ng link dun sa dun sa email mo sa client na ina-applyan mo. Okay? And then draft cover letters based on the job requirements. Usually kasi yung ibang writers or yung mga applicants talaga parang too lazy to make a specialized cover letter. Parang copy paste na lang kung ano yung ginamit mo sa iba, yun na lang din. So that's a no-no kasi minsan kung too general kasi parang hindi mo pinag-isipan. It doesn't show that you're passionate about the job you're applying for. So make sure that you exert effort sa cover letter pa lang. You know, read the job post. For example, sinabi nila doon na we're interested in finding a writer in this niche, home improvement, real estate. So that should also reflect in your in your cover letter. I read on a Facebook post that you're looking for a content writer who is an expert in the home improvement niche. I would like to be considered for that post. Tapos sabihin mo pag halimbawa nilagay nila doon na willing to work on a graveyard shift or willing to commit to writing 500 words a day. So dapat it should be on your cover letter. Sabihin mo doon na I could work on a graveyard shift and I could produce 500 words per day, and then pwede mo din dagdagan ng mga what they call this other words na would sell yourself. Okay? And then number 4, it's very clear, it's very important, be clear in your pricing your services. So dapat alam mo kung how much is your worth as a writer. Huwag kang mahiya to beg an amount for your service kasi if you don't ask for it, the answer would always be no. 'Di ba? So be clear as to how much you want to be paid. Of course, kung hindi naman ma-meet ng employer mo yan, they will negotiate. And it's up to you to agree or, to decline their offer. So just know your worth as a writer. Para, di ba, hindi ka naman, di ba, you're exerting effort, utak kaya yan, mahirap kaya magsulat, di ba? So you have to be compensated fairly for your services based on your skills and your effort, di ba? So, ayun. So, here, we'll move to where can you find work. Okay, so first, you have LinkedIn. So, ang daming job posts or companies na parang direct hired ka talaga if you look on LinkedIn. So, ayun. You could search for job there. And then, of course, Facebook groups. Ang daming Facebook groups na nagpo-post daily ng mga hiring. So, again, hindi naman talaga nawawala yung mga scammers, no? Just be careful when applying for a job. Pag halimbawa, yung picture, medyo fake, or yung parang, most of the time kasi, yung mga legit post is yung, meron talaga silang company email or clear specific yung job posting, anong rate, anong responsibility, where do you send your email, 'di ba? It's very clear. Malalaman mo lang from there na this is legit. Pero kung halimbawa, I need a writer, please PM me. Para mga ganon, pero medyo sketchy. But again, it's up to you to parang scrutinize mo kung ito ba medyo scam ba siya or fraud ba or okay to. So, ayun, be careful, but don't be afraid then to explore. Caliber, meron din dyan. Online jobs, OLJ. Tapos, of course, Upwork. Pero kasi, di ba yung Upwork, parang saturated na siya. So, parang medyo mahirap maghanap ng work doon. If you're writing, then pahirapan pa talaga yung pag-approve ng profile. But again, I'm not discouraging you, but that's the reality. You could still try because there are also a lot of writing gigs there. Okay?
That concludes our introduction to content writing. If you have any questions about the lessons or about content writing in general, please don't hesitate to comment down below and we'll gladly answer them. For now, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel para updated kayo sa mga freelancing guides and tips na i-upload namin weekly. So that's it, guys. Don't forget to keep learning and hustling to succeed in freelancing. Thanks for watching.